Very good. Okay. I always like strange quotes. I found this one. It's weird people compare life to a roller coaster because on a roller coaster, the downhill parts are the most fun. I thought that was interesting. You know, real estate's such a roller coaster. Well, the downhill parts are the most fun. Well, I don't know why people complain when things are going downhill. Anyway, moving on. Next Monday, systems check. Yeah, who's excited? I'm excited. There's also contracts with Alan. But that is really important because if y'all have gone through that with Julie before, it's great to review what you've been doing, and then you'll also have a chance to start preparing for what you want to do next year. 2 weeks from now, the follow-up meeting for today is called Nice to Have, Need to Have, and then we'll have drinks on the deck. We moved that to 5:30 because we felt it was important to invite staff as well, just to have a whole company function. And then Monday, the last systems check, the 25th, and contracts with Alan. But today, you can blame Eddie Kirby for today's business meeting and the following business meeting, because he gave me this book. Eddie and I, unfortunately, have never had a chance to sit down and drink more than a beer together. So I got to work on that. But he gave me this book and a six-pack and said, this is on October 31st last year. I expect to be reading your book like this in 20 years or so, Eddie Kirby. I don't know if I'm going to be able to drink 248,000 beers like Jim Koch has, but maybe I can help Eddie out. So I wanted to tell you, I don't know if you like to drink craft beer or even understand the story, but it's pretty cool. Jim, it looks like Koch, but his name is pronounced Koch. He was 34 years old in 1984, and he sat down at his parents' table in the kitchen, and he told his parents that he was going to leave his successful career as a management consultant in the Boston area, and that he was going to become a brewer. Now, Jim is a fifth generation of First Sons brewers. So, the 4 generations before him, the first son of every Koch family was a brewer. His dad was a brewer, grandfather, great-grandfather, so on and so forth. His brewmaster lineage is the longest running in the United States. Jim still brews beer. So, to water down his passion for brewing is pretty hard because that was in his DNA. And his father kept trying to convince him, because what he had been doing in the brewing industry was just working at a large brewery as an employee, brewing someone else's recipes, that he just thought, how could you possibly have a career doing this? So his father couldn't convince him to not quit his job because he already turned in his notice and he was ready to move forward with building his brewery. And he said, well, son, if you're going to build a brewery, you need to come upstairs to the attic and let me give you something. So his dad takes him up to the attic. They walk past all the boxes and old clothes and all the way back into the corner of the attic where there's this big trunk. And he opens up the trunk, and it's 5 generations of Koch family recipes from all the beers they have made over the last several centuries. And he goes through his folder and finally finds the recipe, and you can see his dad just start lighting up as you're reading this story. And his dad says, well, son, if you're going to open a brewery, you might as well start with the best beer this family's ever made. And that is the Sam Adams Boston Lager. That's how it started. So that recipe is from, they took that recipe, it's all malts. Or, a lot of beers now use hops. That's why it's a lager. It does not have any hops in it. It's all malt. And that recipe dates back, I believe, to the 13 or 1400s. there was some prohibition law in Germany, or maybe it was the purity law about how to produce alcohol. But so Jim had a burning passion, and his father realized he couldn't do anything to stop that. So I wanted to try to share some of his points from this book, because it's really a book about business. I got to admit, it was really hard not to drink a beer every time I picked up this book to read, because the word beer is literally on every page and about every sixth line, and all they talk about is beer and selling beer and going to bars. But the point is, what we want to talk about today is, how do you turn a passion into a business or a career? And Jim points out there are two rules of business. One is you succeed by adding value rather than reducing costs. And number two, there are no other rules. So I want to ask you a question. What's the value of a mortgage lender? You know, a mortgage lender, at the very essence of what they do, they should do what? Loan money to a borrower, someone that needs to purchase real estate, because they don't just give us money to do other things. You got to purchase real estate at a reasonable rate, and that will close on the agreed upon date. That's what we should expect. We know there are lenders that never do any of those things that are still in business and people use, and that's true for a lot of other business professions. But the way we feel some lenders add value, like guarantee mortgage, answering the phone when you call, returning emails, attending the closing to make sure everything goes well, educating clients, educating agents, adding more value than just what people expect. And we're talking about value. What actually is value? There's two functions of value. One is the quality of the service or the product, and then the price. So if we're wanting to get a loan, a lot of people don't understand that you're choosing a mortgage lender based on the quality of their service. Someone that does those things we just mentioned. It's going to loan them the money, do what they said they were going to do, when they said they were going to do it, and then there's other things they'll do to make sure that it's a stress-free process and there's the least amount of friction involved as possible. I still hear stories from y'all about, can't believe they chose so-and-so. And guess what? They couldn't guarantee what they said they were going to do. It doesn't close on time and creates all these other problems. So understanding value, if you want to add more value to your business, what it actually is value. You've got to look at the quality of the service you're providing, and is there actually a price to it? So I want to also get you to think about the value. What's the value of a real estate attorney? Do real estate attorneys charge different prices? Consumers don't really know that, but they do. The price is in the title insurance premium, right? And I don't know, maybe that's paying for a second home or a beach house or a nice car, but they're essentially providing the same basic service. Preparing the documents for purchasing real estate for a reasonable rate and close up at the agreed upon date, right? You know, we selected a date, that's when we want to close, and someone's not able to do that. But if everyone is able to do that and everyone's charging the same rate, if all the attorneys are charging the exact same closing fee and title search fee, and they're all preparing the documents, they're closing on time, and they're charging a reasonable amount, how can they add more value? Answering emails, explaining these documents to clients before closing, during closing. Where I think lenders and attorneys can provide the most value is taking care of issues that come up that aren't really a big deal, that just need to be addressed. Sometimes people make it a big deal that they did take care of something that could have a minimal impact on the transaction. But just doing their job in a professional manner. And so some lenders charge different prices. But real estate agents, we really don't charge different prices, do we? Most properties list for around 6%. We do a lot of the same things, so if we want to provide more value to our clients, we've got to look at the quality of the service we're providing. Because I do believe that clients would pay more if you can define the value that you bring and what exactly it is that you're going to do to help them buy or sell real estate. So what is the value of a realtor? What makes us different? Anybody want to take a shot at that? I'm selling my house, and 3 agents come out to meet with me to talk about it. They're all going to probably quote what? The same brokerage fee, right? Maybe 6%. Someone may say, this house is going to sell quickly. I'll do it for 5. So they may cut their price. But if everyone is listing a property for the same amount, what's a way someone else can bring value? Service. Being available, doing some extra things. That's a value, especially to the other consumer. There's marketing strategies you can use to promote the property. The value you can bring is, most clients think we bring value by what? Bringing someone else to purchase the home. So if we're all charging the same price, you've got to be able to explain to folks the value you bring. Is it your brokerage company? Is it your network of affiliated businesses? You work with the best lenders. You work with the best real estate attorneys so that those things do happen. Because folks want to know what that is, because if they don't understand what it is, they're going to want you to talk about this. And I know it happens. They ask you to reduce your brokerage fee after you've done your job. You get an offer. Alan, house has only been on the market for 3 days and you're still going to charge me 6%? You brought the most valuable possible in that period of time to get them the highest offer. That's something y'all should be looking at during your systems check is, what was your sales price compared to your list price? That's a tremendous value. If you're pricing properties correctly and they're selling for what you list them for, sometimes they sell for more, look at the number of days your average listing spends on the market. Or maybe with buyers, you should track how many homes you viewed. And if it's over 100, please don't share it. Just exclude that data. If you looked at more than 100 homes, just delete that one. But how many homes did you look at before they actually made an offer? How many times do you counter back and forth? You need to be looking at the value you bring because folks are going to want to understand how that compares to other real estate companies. Because that's the first rule. Adding value rather than reducing costs. That's what so many businesses do is they look at, okay, what is my competitor across the street doing? Okay, they're doing this. All right, I'm going to do all that, but I'm going to do it for 5.5%, or I'm going to do it for 4%. They're discount brokers and models in every industry. So to share a couple of quotes to get you thinking from Jim, I just want to share some of his thoughts. Don't just ask customers to pay more, give them a good reason for doing so. This is an idea, maybe you should charge 7% on a $150,000 house or less. If you're providing the same services and value for a higher price home, maybe you need to offer a different model, 6% for a lesser price home. Maybe you can't afford to offer all of those things, but you need to be thinking about that. I really believe in this. The more people who benefit from your success, the more success you're likely to have. The more people you help, the more folks you're going to have an opportunity to help. And this is really important as you're reviewing your business and thinking about how you want to grow your business. The person selling your services on the street needs to be the one who cares the most. If you hire someone to go out and interview sellers or buyers to work with you, and they don't care as much as you do about the business, you cannot pay them enough to care. So you've got to be the one out there bringing in the business, because that has a lot more weight to it as well. People see you, the agent, out on those appointments, meeting with them. I think that's why a lot of lenders take pride in meeting with the clients right off the bat, so that they have that connection and they understand exactly who they're going to be dealing with. I'm going to read this one twice, because I had to replace the word beer with real estate, because we're not selling beer here, we're selling real estate. You can't sell to a market, only to a person, because markets don't buy real estate. People buy real estate. Wow service will beat wow marketing. So we look at a lot of market data. Alan talked about the total volume of sales this company has generated over the last 7 months. Well, 8 months, so that's through August. And so, wow, this market, we've sold $82 million worth of real estate in this market. We work in this market, but we've sold $82 million worth of real estate to people. And when we look at markets, we look at the kind of people that are purchasing in this market. And we know there's a strong military presence here. And that's a certain percentage of the market. But you can't just market to active duty military. You've got to market to the people that are going to be making those decisions, actually purchasing real estate. So you can't sell to a market, only to a person. Markets don't buy real estate, people buy real estate. So instead of spending all your money on wow marketing, maybe you want to move some of that money over to creating a really wow service. Because when you do work with people, wow, it was so great working with them. I didn't have any problems at all. People would be surprised if they didn't have any problems with real estate. And I know we never have any problems in real estate here at Bickerstaff Parham, because we have agents that prevent problems from coming up, right? Yes? So at least one person say yes? Yes. Okay, whoa, okay, just checking. You are doing a real good job at keeping those problems out of our office. But so when you're working with people, making sure you have time to provide that wow service, that will generate a greater return than just wow marketing. But understand too, as you're building your business, you've got to have a little bit of marketing to have an opportunity to service some of those clients. So as you quench your own thirst this month and you begin your systems check next week, think about the 2 rules of business as you're reviewing what you did in 2017, and then as Julie walks you through what you want to do in 2018, really analyze how you're providing value, because we've talked in the past about being busy, the 2 kinds of busy. And if some of the things you've been doing don't provide a real value, then maybe you don't need to do them next year. But you need to be able to think about that and make that decision. Because we've presented y'all with a lot of ideas this year, and that's how we take a break in the summer, so you have time to reflect. You can focus on one and make time to learn those skills, whether it's video or social media advertising, whatever it is you want to become better at doing. Also understanding how is that going to add value to your business, because we don't want to have to discount our prices for what we're doing. We want to be able to add more value, and maybe even in the future raise our price for some of the things that we do, because I believe people will pay for it. If there's a value, they'll pay for the services and products that we're offering. we don't want our industry to be subject to discounted pricing as well. We want to maintain the value we're adding to our clients, but it has to start with you understanding what your value is and how to explain that to your buyers and sellers when you're working with them. So think about that for Monday when your systems check begin, and we'll have another business meeting before the second meeting to help you look at how you can carry that forward into 2018. So appreciate y'all being here today. Beer is going to be served in the cafe right after this meeting. Thank y'all.